Right, we are back with another In That Number podcast. Before we get into the rants, Ben, Toulouse away. Second half was the game I kind of expected, but the first half was an unbelievable performance, really, wasn't it?
It was a game of two halves,
Exactly that.
as the old cliche goes. It was really good. I thought. Again, I don't know. I don't know what's happening this year. It seemed that I was more negative than everybody else last 2 years, and now somehow I've become the
Now look at you.
optimistic one. I don't know what's happening here. It's all gone. That's how you know it's going wrong. But you know what? We expected. Look, I mean, even loads of people online before it, we're all expecting a tough game. Plenty of us wouldn't have been surprised at losing. And yet, because we had one bad half, I don't know, people losing their minds. Listen, first half was great. It was really good. Best half we put together so far. A real sign of what rally ball is when things click, when people know where they're supposed to be, when they're reading each other properly, when that training is clearly coming through, the hard work that they're doing in the week. But you know what? You're away in France where I've watched better Saints teams. I've watched a great Saints team lose to Toulouse in France, and a Toulouse team that finished last and were terrible, still managed to beat us there a few years ago. We had all those players out. We expected 80 minutes of the second half. We only got 40 of it. There's still work to be done, still work in progress, but you can't tell me that's not a step in the right direction from like Bradford, because to me it seems like it is.
It's almost like they took the foot off the gas and gone like, Joe, what? We'll just
you see that a lot, though. Yeah, you see that a lot. And don't get me wrong, it was pretty bad. But how many times do you see it where a team's winning by 20, 30, 40, then score only one in the second half or don't? You see it loads. It's like a natural. Subconsciously, those players have put in so much in that first half, and they've got the rewards. Obviously, none of them are actively going to not try, but you're just going to naturally not be as focused. You can't be as focused when you've got a lead like that. And a lot of players were doing long minutes that don't always do them. The pack, which is key to your field position, was running on fumes in that game, and they were just knackered in the second half.
Yeah.
No Walmsley there, no Lees, this 80-minute engine. Like, it happens. It happens.
I mean, if you're in a low-scoring game where there's like a score in it, like one way or the other throughout the game, it's different. You keep your focus there, but don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I mean, against the likes of Wigan, if we have an half like that, we cannot switch off in the second half because they'll run all over us.
And also, as well, if we have a half like the first half, that will win us most games.
Yeah.
So people are right. You don't want to have an half like the second, but if we have a first half like that first half, most games will be over. Not all of them, sure, but most of them will be. So we've won grand finals and not played well for 80 minutes. In fact, I think
we've won grand finals and hardly played at all.
Most of the grand finals I've watched us win, bar one. I would say that we had at least one half that we weren't great in, or 20-minute periods. It's an 80-minute game. So, because of how different it was, because it was like everything good one half, everything bad second. But imagine if it was split. Imagine if it was the same scoreline, but the tries were spread over both halves. And, it was 10-minute periods of we played well for 10 minutes and terrible for 15. What if we split it like that? People wouldn't say people wouldn't moan at all. They'd go, great gutsy whip. Yeah. So it's just because, and again, if we played like that in the first half, but they did a crazy comeback in the second, people would be buzzing. So it's just of how it's lined up, where we've just everything bad we've done's happened to happen in one half. But it's an 80-minute game, and the 80-minute performance was again 30 points, and again a win. It's thumbs up for that. With that squad that was out there, thumbs up.
2 points on the table, isn't it? 2 points on the
Toulouse
table.
are no pushovers this year. And I think at home, they're going to get some scalps later in the season when they play in France. Absolutely. So to go there with the amount of first-team players we had out, almost in double figures at this point, any win's a good win. But to have that first half, I think you just got to focus on those positives. And it's a good position for Rowley to be in, because it's just consistency now, because he can now say, that's how I want you to play. You've done it. I know you can do it. It's just consistency. In the other games, there's a lot of things that have to get better about the play. Now it's just a bit of consistency. Now you want to play like that for a full game or as close to a full game as you can, but it's just another step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. Performance. There's some individual performances in there, individual moments. Sailor. I mean, how the hell? One, did he get up to catch that ball, and two, offload
Did
it?
he get it off the floor? Yeah. And again, Sailor consistency. I don't think he's played well for this many games in a row ever. Like, granted, yes, we haven't had the KR, we haven't had a Wigan, but regardless of what games he was
Been to
playing
France
last year,
twice.
like regardless of who he was playing last year, I don't think he went five games in a row playing well. Don't think he's ever done that. So, listen, he can only play what's in front of him. He's been more consistent. He's improved. He's pulled his finger out a bit. I think you just got to give him his flowers, as they say at the moment, and it might change, but at the moment, he's been our best player. He's been fantastic.
Yeah. And a player who's almost revitalised himself is Lewis Murphy. 2 tries last week, 2 tries this week.
Going really under the radar,
Yeah.
and I think that's because the Hastings signing, the Clemmer signing, people looking at some of the new guys and things like that, but he's really gone under the radar. He's been fantastic.
Right, let's be honest, though. First of all, his first try was a forward pass by a mile. Let's just be honest with that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But you know what? He finished
the
it well.
Rule, you can argue it, but it was.
But you know what?
Forward either way.
You know what? He finished it well.
Yeah. And his second one, the strength he had,
beautifully.
Got rid of our shot balls. Sent him bye over the line.
People really slept on him last year, and it's understandable because he could barely get 3 or 4 games in a row, and that's why. But I saw a few individual games last year where I thought, you know what, if we throw this ball out a bit and he stays fit, there's a really great player still there. Like, not quite as fast as he was, but still no slouch by any means.
Yeah.
Still no slouch by any means. He's decent speed, but his strength. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of like a Gardner of a melee near the line.
Yeah.
Like where you just knew if they had a one-on-one, they'd just be strong enough to get through.
Over. Yeah.
And it doesn't help as well that he decided to take his cornrows out and have the full melee hairdo in that game as well. Yeah. It was literally,
there you go.
It was literally bringing me right back. It was like a tall, strong winger with an afro. But I think Murphy might be a bit better if he can stay fit. Fit.
And I think it's his longest run of games so far, isn't it? Like 3 or 4 games.
This is his longest run of games, and fair play. It's just ironic in it. The year that everyone is dropping like flies, the one player you'd expect to drop straight away, he's still
going strong.
I still think he's got an injury in him, so I just hope it doesn't happen right near the end of the season. If you're going to get an injury, Lewis, week after Good Friday, have a month off, then we get you back for the the running.
At least Feld will be back by then anyway. So,
but it shows how we just weren't utilising him. Yeah, he didn't have a great run of games, but we just weren't utilising him and Felt properly last year. This year, we're seeing the wingers getting so much ball in space near the line.
Yeah.
Murphy has got pace to beat a man, and he's got the strength. Felt for me is still one of the best finishers in the world in the NRL, even
especially under an high ball.
From 5 yards out with one man in front of him or under a high ball, and we're actually playing to our players' strengths, which we just weren't doing enough. We weren't doing enough last year, and we're doing it. Like, it's not always going to come out, and people are going to have to accept that. There'll be a few knock-ons or getting dragged into touch here and there. I'm happy to see that if we see tries like those ones as well. I don't mind if it doesn't work every time. I'd rather that than the only time you see him go over is walking the ball in from 3 yards.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see him get more chances, and people need to be willing and patient enough to accept that it might not always work out. But when it does, you get great moments like that game where he's just fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, people look at me like I've got 5 heads when I say this, but you could have the 2 best wingers in the world in your team. If they're not getting the service, it's irrelevant.
No.
You could have fucking Dick and Dom or Anton Deck.
You could have mid-2000s.
If they're not getting the service.
You could have mid-2000s Lottie Takiri on your wing. That's a shout.
You could have Van Nicolo and Tommy Makinson on your wings. If they're not getting the ball, it's irrelevant.
Doesn't matter. We saw it. We saw it with.
Yeah.
I think we saw it with Felton Murphy, with at times last year. Robertson. I think we saw it last year. What happens when you don't play to to their strengths and you don't make space for a player? Yeah, there's going to be the odd try where they do some individual brilliance, but even the best players in the world don't do that week in, week out. That's why you only see them on a 10-minute highlight reel, but that's got like 400 odd games on it. Like, a lot of the time, it's the team that makes the try, even with a very good player on the end of it. And wingers might occasionally break the line and go 100 meters and beat 3 players. They're going to do that less than 10 times in their entire career, if you look at it. Even Billy Slater wasn't doing that week in, week out. You need to create space for your players. And if we get him space like that, he's fast enough and he's strong enough that he's going to cause teams a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to credit Wigan, but you look at Liam Marshall. You know what I mean? He's not the youngest winger in the league by any stretch, but they know when to get the ball to him, and he's always where he needs to be. But if the ball's not going to him, he's just stood there like a dickhead. And
I've seen some wingers who, if you look at them as an individual, you probably wouldn't call them a world-class player. And I don't want to be too harsh on some players, but there are wingers we've had where they've been part of treble-winning sides, and I don't think they'd make like a top 10 winger list even in the prime. I don't think they'd be anywhere near it, but they took advantage. They finished the opportunities the team created for them. And as much as we love a great individual winger try, 99% of the times they just need to be strong enough or quick enough to beat one man, to beat 2 men, to get it tight in at the corner and finish a try off. And Murphy can do it. He's been really good this year.
You look at a striker in football, they're not going to score the goals they're supposed to if they're not getting the possession in the box, are they? So it's the same thing.
There are some strikers, again, saying like the football comparison is you've got players who highlight reels of 40, 30-yard shots and free kicks. How many of them has Harry Kane scored?
Yeah.
Does it matter? Because how many does he score? Gary Lineker,
I think he famously said,
Gary Lineker famously said, you could add up the yards of all my goals in my career and it wouldn't make it to 30 yards. They're all from 4 or 5 yards out. The winger a lot of the time, it's from 10, 20 meters out. They just need a little burst of pace off the line and some good strength in the corner and to be good under a kick. And he can do that. So yes, he can do the great individual stuff that we saw in his second try. That's a bonus for me. If your winger can do the individual stuff, that's a great joker card to play. But they need to be good at the bread and butter winger game, which is underrated for how good you've got to be to do it. It's a completely different set of skills, and it is simpler in a way. But if it was so simple, everyone would do it, and every winger for a decent club would score 30 tries. So there's underrated skills that a lot of wingers get looked over. If they can't do a 100-meter sprint in 3 seconds, people tend to not pay attention to what makes him really good. What's exciting with Murphy is he can do both. He's got a burst of pace, he can throw men off him, but he also is positioning
inside as well.
His positioning is good. When to come inside is good. When to go one-handed into a corner, when to ride the tackle over the line. Things you don't. It's hard to judge them on like a data sheet, but if you just watch Murphy, you can do the bread and butter. You can do the exciting stuff. When you've got a winger like that, it's really cool because whether you're 10 yards out or on your halfway line, you've got a weapon at all times. And when you've got a weapon, no matter what yard of the field you're on, that is that's a bit of an X factor that can change a game. As good as Felt is near the line, he won't have that further up in the pitch.
Murphy's got straight from distance, doesn't he?
Murphy can do both. He's probably not quite as good close range as Felt is, but he's still good. But he's got something that Felt doesn't with the burst of pace. And, then Felt has the high ball where maybe Murphy doesn't quite have that. So I think we've got, for a long time, we've not had this in so long, guys. I think we've just got 2 really good wingers, Just 2 good wingers. I don't know
we
the last
time.
We
Mason and Grace, have we really?
And even then, Grace had the X Factor stuff. But I'm not sure he had a lot of the bread and butter, which you could argue for what he did he need it? I always say, Martin Afire couldn't catch a cold, and he's considered one of the best wingers ever. So there's an argument that Grace was just so quick, and he just scored
Yeah.
tries from everywhere that he probably didn't need the ball handling skills of an elite player or to be great in the air like an elite player. I'm not knocking Grace; he's one of the most exciting players I've ever seen. But I'm just trying to boost Murphy here with what I'm saying. Whereas he's got a bit of everything as a winger. He just needs to keep staying fit. If he can just keep staying fit, and I really hope it happens for him. Really do.
It's all it needs is that run of games, isn't it? To one, get his confidence, and two, let me go. Right, my body's fine now. Let's go.
Yeah. And he's taken some knocks in these games as well, and he hasn't. He's been all right. So, you know,
it was a hamstring issue, wasn't it? Mainly with him.
Hamstring.
Yeah,
I think
so he's had the off season there to recover, and obviously the back end of last season. So again, I think a case of we just didn't rush him back at the end of the towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think we did the right thing.
That's a good thing there. Our toughest test so far this season, regardless of OKR's form, we know what they're capable of. We know what.
See, the thing is, I'm not happy about the form they've been in because let's be honest, they're not going to finish near the bottom of the league. They're not going to have this form all year.
A fucking big win.
And are they finally due performing well in a big game? Yes, of course they are. So of course, it's Saints with half the team out that are coming to play. Listen, for me, this is a free hit. It would have been a free hit with a full strength squad this early on. I'm only going to start being a bit more critical of Rowley when we get towards August, September. But never mind having a full team. We've still got loads of players out. So with the players we've got missing, with our record against KR the last 2-3 years, I don't care if they've only won one game. They're obviously going to turn it round at some point. They're obviously going to finish in the top 4. Maybe worst case scenario, they're just in the top 6. But let's be honest, they're going to do it. They're probably going to turn up against us because it's coming. I'd be very surprised if it goes into a month's worth of bad performances. I really would. Wouldn't mind it. It'd be quite nice for us, but I don't think so.
Yeah. The World Club Challenge hangover won't last for long.
This is a free hit for me. All I want is just let's not get blown away and outclassed. Because
and also the news coming out that Willie Peters is going to leave at the end of the season might spur them on even more to put performance in for him.
It could go either way. Is it a distraction? Could be a distraction. You know, we saw that. We've seen it at times where announcing a coach's leave kills a team, but we've also seen it where they do rally round. So it could go either way.
Albrook said he was going, won the grand final.
We made sure we weren't bottling anything else after the grand
final.
Yeah, 100%. So
it goes either way.
Since about 2022, I've just seen us been nothing but outclassed since KR. Yeah. Even in games that the scoreline hasn't been very big, the scorelines have flattered us at times because maybe not flattered us because our defense has been very good at times, but with the ball we've been so outclassed by them with the ball for about 3 years. I don't care if we lose with the players we've got missing. I think it should be expected, despite their form. They're at home. They're the champions. We are missing a lot more than they are. They should win by all rights. They are the favourites. I just want to see a good game where we would really give them a scare at the very least. If we win, amazing. It's a win we weren't expecting. But even in a loss, I just want to see a performance in the loss. I don't want to see outclass. I don't want to see cluelessness. I don't want to see the players actively look like they just don't have anything that they can trouble them, which is all I've seen against this lot for years. Let's just make this a proper big game. No matter what and which way it goes, I want a proper competitive game with a few good tries scored, and hopefully it's enough to get the win. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, there's bonus in there now. We've got Clark and Shorrocks back, who again last week we didn't have a properly recognised 9 on the pitch.
The thing is as well,
Wingfield, though,
it's not an easy one with Shorrocks because I think he's been decent. I think he's only had one truly bad game. That was Wire. He was okay in a couple, then he was very good in one. I think our attack actually has looked a bit better the last 2 weeks without him at least. No.
Yeah, but he offers a lot in defence, doesn't he?
I actually think, but I think both Clemmer and Wingfield, who played there the week before, for most of it before injuries again, I think they actually did that first receiver role at Luce a little bit better than Shorrocks did. Shorrocks can do it. My only problem with when we've had Shorrocks in is that it's becoming a bit predictable, and I don't know whether this is I'm guessing Hastings is the main guy calling plays out there and organising. So I'm not sure if it's something that he just likes. It's a play he likes. But what I noticed was when Shorrocks is playing, he's the first receiver every single play. And he never takes the ball in. And I think you just have to mix it up a bit. So it got to the point when I think it was Bradford, it might have been the week before Lee, where the defence, I could see the opposition defence was not worried about Shorrocks dummying and taking meters because he's just catching and passing a little bit too much for me. Whereas when Wingfield was doing it, sometimes he was just driving that ball in. Sometimes he was dummying and going. Sometimes he did just pass the ball left or right. And it got the defence thinking. If I'm being a bit critical of Shorrocks, I don't think he's been doing enough in attack to get the defence thinking. He's getting the ball, he's just passing it straight away. And it's leaving Hastings and Saylor with not a lot of room out wide because defences are shifting very early. So if Shorrocks does come in, he needs to sometimes just be a bit direct. You're a forward. Just drive that ball in sometimes. Don't pass it sometimes. Or delay when you're going to pass it. Take it to the line a bit. Delay the pass. For me, it's a bit catch and passy. It's a little bit just catch it and immediately pass it as soon as you can with Shorrocks. So I'm not sure whether
I get what he's doing.
He's
trying to get the quick ball and the trying to release the player.
Trying to spread it wide early so the halves have only a few players out wide, theoretically, to deal with. But I like the balance more when we had like a forward who could take the ball in a bit and sometimes tip the ball off. Now, granted, Shorrocks is probably a better passer than Wingfield or Clemmer is at that 13. But I just think overall, we've seen the best bits of our attack without him. So do you immediately put him back in when our best half of attack has come without him in that key role?
Well, you could probably put him in the back row, to be honest.
Could do.
If that's not working, you can always switch him round with someone or like Wingfield or whatever.
I'd just say it's just an interesting choice, that role he's got. So I don't think it's as easy as he goes straight back in. Maybe you put him on the bench.
Yeah,
to boost the bench a little bit. I don't know, but
we'll see. You
we'll
think Rowley would have seen what's going on. Go, hang on, something's different here about this attack. And obviously, go and
maybe it's something we can do with Shorrocks anyway. But it might just be it was a team performance thing. But just an observation. I thought it's not quite as simple as Shorrocks coming back in, but we'll see. Yeah. Maybe he does.
But Clark coming back in is a big fucking bonus.
Yeah, an actual hooker, an actual number 9. That'll definitely be something we'll be getting next year. And start looking at all the hookers that are out of contract, lads, because you know full well we'll be getting one. Desperate. Great Clark. So unlucky for Jake Burns as well. News has come out.
Yeah, he got done his ankle when he got knocked out, didn't he?
Yeah. So not only did he get the HIA, bloody injured himself falling over. It's just
it is what it is. So it's one of them, isn't it?
And it's probably his Saints' career done in the long run because unless when he gets fit again, Clark drops dead, and we have to play him. Yeah. You know, we've already seen that he wasn't the first backup hooker, even when at the beginning of the season Burns wasn't near that team. So unfortunately, because I thought the brief spell he had when he came on at Cass, he looked very bright when he came on. Good passing from the floor, quick distribution. It just seems it's just not going to happen for him. I don't see him getting back unless the serious injuries come the end of the season. I don't think we're going to see him back, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong.
It's not his fault. He's had that taken away from him.
It's not his fault. Yeah, you know, he was in Last Chance Saloon, and it just feels a bit shitty because he's not had that one last chance really. Because it should have been his last chance to show something, and what can you do when you don't even get the chance? So who knows? Hopefully he gets 2 or 3 at the end of the season. Yeah. I'd hope so. I hope that isn't the end. That's how it ends for him.
I think he's got a future in the game, definitely. You know what I mean? Even in a Super League side, he's got a future in the game.
I think he does. I think, he's just very quick from, and I think it's that point in his career now. He's not a young lad, him. Like, he's in his mid-20s. He got
picked up from a community club, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He just needs to leave. He needs to leave and get himself a career because he'll play 20, 30 games.
We said this about John Benison. He's still not played a game for York yet.
That is true, to be fair, yeah. You know, he's actually got some competition there at York. We underestimated some of their signings, I think.
No, there you go. You see, this is why I've raised him highly, but just one last thing on that game. Alfie Sinclair getting his debut, so well done, young man.
Well done, Alfie.
And you know what? Didn't put a foot wrong. Didn't have a lot to do, but didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he's very highly rated by a lot of the club, and me and a few other lads who'd been to some of the academy games back when he was in there. He was one of those ones. A bit of an unsung hero sometimes. People like to talk about your Whitbys and Noah Stevens. Like they got a lot of, but people who knew that academy side, they know what Alfie can do, and he seems physical enough to take that step up as well, which is usually the thing that stops so many bright young forwards in the tracks, is that they don't develop to the men's game. Seems like he's not going to have that problem. I think he's got a bit of way to go, but he doesn't look fish out of water when he came on. He looked strong enough. So, yeah, did well.
Yeah, so well done, young lad. Well, I don't need to go into this now. We've already mentioned that Whitby and Burns are going to be out, so we've already covered that.
Yeah.
Rant time, Ben, off you go.
I don't want it to be me again.
We'll both have a little rant on it.
Yeah, so unsurprisingly, it's only temporary, don't worry. He's the interim. Why are you all freaking out, everyone? It's just so they can get the elections in place. Temporary chairman. Nigel Ward has now been elected the full-time chairman. Yeah.
Surprise.
What a shock that is.
I know.
I just think we've covered this. It's to say, jobs for the boys. I'll let's do a bullet point of them. Let's run through this nonsense.
Yeah,
jobs for the boys.
Things to talk about.
It's jobs for the fucking boys at the RFL. Always has been, always is. From the referee department to the commercial side to the governing council itself and the board. It's jobs for the boys. It's who you know. It's who you've previously worked for. Just another example of it. Desperately need some fresh, new, bold ideas, and we go with a guy who failed last time he was here. He failed. The club chairman can try to gaslight us all they want about, but the TV deal was bigger. Well, yeah, he left before the TV deal got reduced, so we don't know that it wouldn't have happened anyway. And also, all these club chairmen forced Nigel Wood out a decade ago. Yeah. You can find the articles online. They're very funny to read. Search Nigel Wood exit, and all the people that have parachuted him into being interim chairman, that have now forcibly made him the chairman, these guys, these clubs, all got rid of him last time because they were sick of him. So what's changed?
I believe Wigan, York, and another team didn't want him in.
So apparently there were like four no's and someone abstained. I think Cass abstained, something like that. But yeah, it just makes me laugh that the likes of Saints and Leeds and all that who forced Nigel Wood out, then force him back in. And we've gone over.
What, if this fucks up the NRL takeover, game's gone.
Well, you know what? We've been over that bit as well. So that's another bullet point. Clubs have too much power. The club shouldn't be able to coup a chairman of a governing body. They shouldn't be able to insert their own interim, and they shouldn't be able to strong arm him into winning the vote to be chairman. So we've done that one. Any other? What's the usual bullshit with this? No proper consultation period. We were promised all these different reports. We only got one review, which wasn't really a proper review that we covered a few months ago. The guy that got forced out less than 10 years ago is our chairman again. I'm sure things will magically be different and it'll all be sunshine and roses this time. I'm done. I'm sick of it. That's it. You want to rant? Go on. I'm done.
Do you know what? I can't even be arsed. I want to get to the positive stuff.
Yeah. It's a joke. We'll just put it like that. It's a joke.
Yeah, we'll part that up because, again, we just ramble on about it and I'm sure
good
people
luck,
are sick of hearing about it now.
Good luck on the Barrows Peas Super League, whatever it's going to be in 10 years' time. Marrow Fat Peas Super League.
Yeah. Bachelor's mushy peas.
Yeah.
By the bloody hell. Anyway, speaking of Super League, this weekend is the 30th birthday of Super League, hence why I've got the 96
It is. I've got a bit to talk about with this as well. So,
how much can you fit in?
So to celebrate 30 years of Super League,
Oh, hang on. You're almost exactly the same age as Super League, aren't you?
I am. I'm a slightly young. Yes, I'm slightly younger than Super League.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, I am. Super League the Super League started the month of my birthday, in '96. Yeah, I believe. It was March.
Still wet behind
then?
the ears.
So yeah, so I am almost as old. I'm almost as old as Super League. The Super League YouTube channel.
What the fuck? This shirt is older than you.
And there'll be fans in that stand that have got shirts older than you guys. So, although those shirts are probably very dusty.
So even I've not got a shirt older than me.
Maybe 1 year younger. Super League, the Super League YouTube channel is uploading a lot of old games from the '96 season at the moment.
Yeah.
So they started with the first ever game on Super League. Gaz, what was the first ever game on Super League on television?
Oh, now it was PSG against Sheffield Eagles.
Well done. It was PSG versus Sheffield. So that game is on in full. Yeah. They have also just uploaded Warrington Leeds from '96 as well. I think there's going to be more to come. I want to talk. You know what? It's amazing to see how much it's changed. It's really amusing. If anyone, you don't have to watch the full game. Watch the build-up and watch like the first 20 minutes of that Sheffield PSG game. First of all, I don't know if you remember this, guys. I don't know if you watched it on TV back then, if you can even remember that. But do you remember how the teams were announced when Super League started?
Oh, now I remember it from like the early 90s.
This got me.
It's have a graphic of the pitch and they put the players in the position.
So this is what they did for PSG Sheffield. Steve-O was on the pitch. So he was commentating on the game. But this was weird as well. So the team for the game is Eddie, Steve-O and Brad Arthur, right? Brad Arthur is pitch side talking about...
He's a touchline winner.
But even though he's the touchline guy, he's not on the touchline for the touchline job. Steve-O goes down from commentary, stands next to the tunnel and announces the team. However, there's another twist to this. Do you think he just announces one team at a time? Does he announce both teams at the same time? Or is there a special third way that Steve-O announces the teams? Now, if any listener is thinking it's obviously the special third way, you are right. This is what Steve-O does. He announces the fullbacks of Sheffield and PSG. Then both fullbacks together run onto the pitch.
Yeah. Now
then they announce the left wingers from both teams. And then both left wingers together run onto the pitch. And he does this for every position with a guy next to him repeating everything in French.
Well, you see what's done with English half the time.
It was the weirdest. Literally, it was like the fullback is, Mr. Smith and Mr. Hughes, and they both just run. Why was the opposition? It was like you're like, oh, you're both the fullbacks, so both the fullbacks are going to fight. You're both the wingers. So, bizarre, weird. It took 6 minutes to announce the teams onto the field.
Bloody! You'd think it'd be quicker, wouldn't you? Instead of doing one team, I know what they've done at a time.
I know what they've done here. Because remember, Super League, a big thing of it was they were Americanizing things because America do sport big. They do it flashy. We need it like that.
Yeah,
like
animal nicknames and all that shit.
Look, right. So I know where they've taken it from, but they've done it wrong. So in the mid-90s, they've taken it from the Chicago Bulls. Weren't the only team to do it. Loads of American teams did it. But what the Bulls would do, that was Jordan, Michael Jordan, if people don't know. That was when he was playing.
Dennis
Rodman, Scottie Pippen. It was that team, like the larger-than-life team. They would announce them on one by one, but only for their team. They wouldn't announce the opposition player in each position. So what they've done is they've taken a kind of American thing, because some teams still do it, where they'll announce the starters one by one. And I don't mind that. If you did, here's the fullback. Yay, here's the winger. But to have it, the positions of both teams, and then they ran out together. Watch it. It's as funny as it sounds. It's hilarious. Love that. That was the first thing. Second thing, I'll give this to you as a little quiz. Gaz, another quiz for you.
Oh, dear.
So, as part of the Sky Sports broadcast, Sky did something visually, so this is a clue. they did something visually as part of the production for the first time in British Rugby League. What was the visual change they made that they had never done before that game?
They put the time
But
up.
specifically, it was the match clock.
Yeah,
That was I know it sounds crazy, but that was the first time where
that's
the
what I mean.
clock
The
went,
time, the match clock. Yeah,
where it went down from 40 to 0. You did
Yeah.
used to occasionally get BBC clocks, but it would just go 0 to 40, 40 to 80, not include ref stoppages. So you'd have added
Yeah.
time, and you wouldn't actually know when the game was actually going to end. This was the first time, believe it or not, in 1996, not 86, in 1996, that we had a match clock on the screen.
yeah. And do you know what, even
Tell me
before
about
that,
British Rugby League in the early 90s, because it sounds like the fucking Stone Age. If they didn't even have a fucking match clock on the TV
do you know
before
what? It was just so simple.
1996.
It was just so simple. It'd
Such a
come on the telly. You'd
simple.
have Eddie and Steve all talking. They'd run through the previous games from both clubs. Then they'd announce the team, the lineup. They'll go blah 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 blah, and then they come out and kick off.
That was it.
Pretty
Really?
much, yeah. I mean, that's what I remember anyway.
It just tells you like how exciting it must have been back then. And we can look back and we can laugh at they wanted it. They wanted Milan and Paris and Berlin in Super League in by 98. But you got to understand, this was a level of money the game had never seen. It had never had this level of funding. Biggest TV deal of all time at the time. It was a level of production that is dated today, yes, but back then was so ahead of anything that any other TV company was doing. You can understand how exciting it must have been before Super League One, with the promises of we're going to have Paris and Milan and Dortmund and Berlin, and multiple games are on TV live, which had never happened in a weekend consistently before then. Like, it must have been a real exciting time. I don't know if you remember all the optimism of Super League as, but it must have been like mental at the time to see what was happening.
One thing that sticks out to me was, for some reason in the promo, Martin O'Fire, he stood there with no top on, puts the gum shield and he goes like that. Why, I don't know. I don't know why he's doing himself in. Well, he's not actually hitting himself, but you know what I mean. It's just.
And like the presentation.
What has that got to do with rugby league?
Like,
when you're not. There was none of this fucking graphics on the pitch or anything like that. It was just green pitch, white lines, and that's it.
But
I'm telling you, the one thing that stands out to me in the early 90s, like, I mean, don't forget, I was only 9 years old when Super League started, so it's just a really, really blurry for back then. The only thing that sticks out properly to me before then was the smell of wintergreen.
Wintergreen.
I mean, they'd come out and you could smell it all over Nosey Road.
Yeah, when I played rugby league and union, I remember the smell of wintergreen in the changing rooms, definitely. But to go back to the game, you can sense the optimism of Super League. It's a great bit of history. Like, for people like anyone who might be a history nerd like I am in my spare time, it's a wonderful piece of history, these old games, especially the first one. Now, we're used to expansion attempts now. We've had 30 years of...
This was like completely new.
Think about 96, a team from Paris, and it's entering a league with St. Helens, Castleford, Oldham, Workington. Like, it was nothing back then, apart from... Yes, you had to think London had been attempted by that point, sure. But other than that, there was not this European capital city dream that some people still have for the game. This must have been crazy for the average fan in 96. That the first game was Paris Saint-Germain, that iconic name, Sheffield. Sheffield Eagles.
And Joe, what? It was probably a bigger club than PSG football at the time.
Oh, yeah, PSG were tiny at the time, but there's 15,000 in. Now, I've talked about this before. We did a great episode, one of our first ones, about the history of like expansion teams, where I think it was one that was it? Oh God, he's gonna kill me forgetting his name now. Is it Dan?
Oh yeah, Dan. Yeah.
I am talking about the right person. I'm a history man.
Yeah.
That's what one of the early ones he did with us, and we talked about the history of PSG, and it's really interesting. The business model was insane. So I won't go fully into it. Go back. It's literally episode 1, 2, or 3. Go back and find it if you want.
I think it's
But
number 2.
essentially, for a lot of the games, they didn't charge anyone to go in. It was all free tickets for a lot of the games, with the idea being, if any sponsor sees us filling this stadium out, they're going to want to give us a big, expensive sponsorship deal. So that was his great plan of everyone gets in on the day for free, but we'll have a big TV deal because we've got this big, great-looking stadium full of fans, and we'll get big corporate companies going, oh, that looks exciting, PSG, full house every week. It didn't end up that way. You can read a lot about it online. It did not work. It's a crazy way to run a club. It doesn't work. They had no money left by the end of the season. And the big TV deal didn't come and the big corporate sponsors didn't come. However, it's great to see it at the start of... And it's a shame that it didn't work out because, yes, were many people paying to get in? At the end of the day, there were people who had probably never watched rugby league before who were there, and we failed them. The fact that they lost attendances during the year, because they did go down to about 1,000 to 2,000 by the end, that's a failure of the people running PSG and the RFL. They didn't do it properly. They didn't try to grow a club. They didn't put any local connections in. There was no amateur scene set up. There was no amateur clubs. It was all union, and they just parachuted a place with no history of rugby league into the league. Thankfully, we don't do things that stupid anymore. Even though other ones have failed.
At least Catalan and Toulouse have grown before coming to Super League.
And interestingly, Toulouse were meant to be in Super League with PSG originally. So the guy who created PSG, funnily, this sounds mental as well, he was also going to create Toulouse. He was going to run 2 clubs. And he was going to run 2 French clubs. Eventually, they decided to shelve Toulouse and focus on PSG because that's got the big Paris name in it. We have now learned that to do expansion, you need to do it the ground up. Needs to be fans there, at least 5, 6, 7,000 that are going to come, with potential for over 10. You need to focus on connections with the local community. You need an amateur game. You need local clubs that young fans can go play for the local club and then dream of reaching the big local club that you've set up. We know all of this now. It wasn't known at the time, so you can't blame them for the optimism they had. What I find weird, though, and I've said this before, is that it shows how misguided early expansion was, because if anyone doesn't know, the original teams that were slated, these were actually put on the table. This wasn't just gossip. This is what the RFL said they wanted to do. They wanted Dublin to start in Super League 1. They wanted Milan to start in Super League 1. They wanted Paris to start in Super League 1. All, again, places with zero history of rugby league and zero local amateur game. No community.
Especially Ireland. I mean, Ireland's rugby union mad, isn't it?
Nothing.
Football, rugby union.
However, the south of France was. Catalan wasn't. People think Catalan is just an expansion team they made up.
Well,
that team was already there. That team was already there, played in the French league. There's the predecessor to the Elite 13 had Catalan and Toulouse in it, and they played. They were called. They had a different name, but essentially they changed the name slightly and they took over.
It was still a Perpignan-based rugby league club.
Essentially, what was happening with Perth and what happened with the Dolphins and the NRL. They pick a place where it's already going on, but they just turn it into an official club. Why did it take Super League 10 years to get Catalan in? When they were in 96, they were already playing rugby. The only place in Europe, if anyone doesn't know, they probably do, the only place in all of Europe that has a long-term, 100-plus year of history of playing rugby league, other than the north of England, is the south of France. There's a great book, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's essentially about how rugby league was banned in France under the Vichy France, basically the puppet regime when the Nazis ruled France. They did it in Greece too. They're still doing it in Sweden and Greece today, by the way. It's why people say it's just another sport. Why don't you try and work together? Because the International Rugby Union Board is trying to kill our sport still, by the way. Still happening today. But it's really interesting. Rugby league was actually thriving in areas of France, and the reason it didn't take off like it did in the north of England is it sounds like a crazy answer, but it's because of the Nazis, essentially, which is mental to think about that, such a crazy sentence to say, but yeah, rugby league was banned for years. Even after the end of World War II, it was oppressed and it was subjugated, and people were banned from playing it. And if it wasn't for that Nazi French regime, we might have another little area that has their own top league. It might be you've got the M62 corridor, and you've got south of France and north of Spain. Might have had their own little league that was on a professional level. That might have happened. There's a long, rich history there, and it's weird that it took them so long to do both Catalan and Toulouse properly. It's just bizarre that we were going for these pipe dreams of big capital cities when really that should have been what expansion should have been in the first place, building on roots that are already there. So, but watch the games. They're very interesting. The speed of the game is crazy as well. Yes, we have sped up the game this year with the rule change, but even this year, Super League has nothing on the game speed of 96. Now, yes, that's again because a lot of them weren't proper professionals, didn't have that sports science and the level of physio and preparation they do now. So the defensive lines weren't as quick because the defenders weren't as fit and strong. So I get you could never go back to it being that slow without having to put a really weird rule in where players have to stand still for 5 seconds before playing the ball. But it is interesting to see how, I think on the whole, it's much better to watch, Gaz. And I'm not one of these that goes over the top about the game today. I still love the game today. But I actually think a good game in 96 is so much better to watch than these days because of how quick. The level of fitness of modern players has kind of killed that excitement in attack because teams would have 10, 15 seconds to throw the ball out and the defensive line would still be in Wigan. Not now where you play the ball and that first player's already got a man there in his face. It was real slow defensive lines, but it meant they could do these really interesting attacking plays that you could never get away with now, like runarounds and pop-up balls and fakes and insides. It is really cool to watch. So watch them. There's going to be more of them this week on the Super League channel. And if there was some way we could get the game back to that speed, I don't think there is with the modern athletes, but if there was, it was a better game back then. It just was. It's so free-flowing. Every game is free-flowing rugby. Every game.
There you go. So go and check them out. Just before we go through the predictions quick, massive congratulations to Tara Jones.
Yes,
I mean, what a week for her. First of all, receiving an MBE for her services to rugby league and becoming the first ever female to referee a men's Super League game. So, Tara, well done. Congratulations.
Yes.
Not only is it good for the women's game over here, but good for women's sport in general.
Yeah.
It's showing they can break through this alleged ceiling. She's absolutely smashed through it. So, Tara, well done.
Yeah,
everyone's
and just
really
a little bit in case there's. Hopefully, our communities is not like this, but we know the naysayers when it comes to things like this. You put it perfectly. You put what I was going to say perfectly. Then it's because I've heard some rubbish online. I know I shouldn't pay too much attention to troglodytes online, but it's my own problem. I should ignore it. But some of the stuff where it's oh, why is she getting an MBE? Is it because she's a woman? And people are just missing the point.
Because the game's not been around. She's done a lot for the game.
It's not we're not saying there's not been a referee as good as Tara Jones. There are referees that are men that are as good as Tara. There are a few that I think are better. You put it perfectly. They've never had this opportunity before. So people like Tara with the reffing and the playing, what she did for Saints and the Saints women, they're breaking those ceilings and those walls down. So in 100 years' time, it won't be a big deal, but it's because of what's happening now that it won't be a big deal. Because she's had to come up through, especially with the reffing side, from things that I knew from years and years ago, from when she would have been a junior at the same time. And a nasty environment at times, an environment that has been sexist. And no, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden we make out that they're amazing for no reason. These are trailblazers at the end of the day. They are breaking down. They're the first people to do it. And that is worth celebrating because in 50 years, no one will bat an eyelid when someone in rugby league wins an MBE and is the top referee in the country. But they only won't bat an eyelid because these people are the first people to do it. And we do that for the men. Harry Sunderland, Lance Todd. If you took a time machine and took them into the modern game, they wouldn't make the Blackbrook side. Because, the game was only just new. It was new. It was the people were still getting better than everyone, learning how to play the game properly. The poor women in a lot of circumstances are 100 years behind the opportunities that we've had. So just like we celebrate the early men, you celebrate the early women because they're making it easier.
It's evolved as well.
For generations, and it will evolve. And on the playing side, it will get better. It'll only get better because they're the ones that push for the first opportunity to have proper clubs attached to proper teams with professional setups on Sky. And same with Tara, what she's doing with the refereeing. It'll not be weird in 10, 15 years. I'm sure there's a lot of juniors out there that are women, and that'll make it easier for them. And it's a source of inspiration. So, yes, little mini rant, but some of the cry arses, it doesn't affect your life in any way negatively. So if you don't have anything good to say nothing at all, as my mum used to always say.
Yeah. So, Tara, well done.
So, Tara, well done. And you know what? She is an excellent ref, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Like, for people saying, that's why she got the promotion, I've seen a ref plenty of times, and regardless of gender, she is one of the top refs in the country as it is. And I actually think that, I don't know if it's been putting a bit of pressure on her shoulders here, but looking at some of the younger refs that they've got, who's going to join that group of your Moore and Kendall, who are just doing every final between them. I actually think in less than 4 or 5 years, I think Tara will be doing a lot of them if she keeps up like how she performs as a ref. Very controlled and consistent. It's all we want. She's consistent most of the time.
Yeah, not much to ask for.
So no, she's doing an amazing job. And well done. Well done.
Yeah. Right, let's get these predictions out the way then.
Now hold on. I quickly have to do mine.
Because
I almost forgot to do them, guys. So we'll do them live. I'll say which one for each game and I'll press the button. So
I'll go with man and Tom. So me and Tom have both gone Bradford to beat Castleford.
I've just gone Bradford. You know what? I'll do it quickly so they can't say I'm trying to do it on yours. Right. KR Saints.
Me and Tom have both gone Saints.
I've gone KR. I think it's going to be tight, but I've gone KR.
Yeah.
I know. And I've gone
he'll get you 6 points if it comes in, so.
I've gone York to beat Wakefield.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What have you two gone for?
I have gone with Wakefield, I think. I've got a call on here, so I can't see. No, I've gone York, sorry. Me and Tom have both gone York.
Oh, both gone York. There we go.
Yeah. We have both gone Wigan.
I've gone Wigan. And that's anyone who plays Huddersfield at the moment, they'll be getting my vote.
Yeah. Tom has gone with Lee to beat Toulouse. I've gone with Toulouse.
I've gone with Lee.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting one.
Tom has gone with FC and I've gone with Catalan.
I've gone with Catalan. Yeah, I've gone with Catalan with that one.
Yeah. And we've both gone with Leeds to beat Warrington. I've
gone with Leeds. I've got a feeling, even though the couple of poor results for Leeds, I know, I just feel like there might just be a bit of an inconsistent side, but if they play at the best, they're at home. Wire are due, although I suppose they had a bit of a dodgy game against York. But I don't know, I feel like Leeds are going to nick that one.
Yeah. They've got something to prove now, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. So that pretty much covers everything then, Ben?
Yep, that's everything.
Yep, so we'll be back next week. And also, we've got Mr. Alan Hunt joining us next week. So that'll be put out maybe the next weekend. And
Alan Hunt.
Give you a bit of time to digest it. But if you've got any questions for Alan, please get in touch and let us know.
Absolutely.
Right, so we'll be back next week. And thank you very much.
Thank you.